Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over subscription services. In the past couple of videos, we went over how to restrict access to web applications and how to restrict access to APIs. All right. I am currently in the Inhouse app builder in our demo application. In the video where we restricted access to web applications, this was the application that we restricted access to. This application has multiple pages, one that is unrestricted and one that is restricted. And when we go over to the deployed environment, as you can see, we have access to the unrestricted page. And then when we try to navigate to the restricted page, we have this blocker here. So, to gain access to this page, one has to be logged into this application. And likewise with an API, to gain access to that API, one has to have an API key. And for one to have an API key, they have to be signed up to that API service. So how does this all work? It works through subscription services. All right, let me go back to the Inhouz Cloud console. To get to the subscription services, we have to go to the subscription management module, which is over here. When I go, into this tab, I can see my subscription services and I can see a lot of other tabs tied to the whole concept of subscription services. So if we take a quick look, we're going to just notice a couple of things. We're going to see multiple environments. We're going to see different asset types. We're going to see different service types, internal versus external. We are going to go through all of this, but the most important thing to know is that on the Inhouz Cloud platform, when you restrict access to an application or when you restrict access to an API, to gain access to that service or to that in-app or API, one has to sign up users to that API. That means that a subscription service has to be created and users have to be signed up to that subscription service to gain access to those assets. And by assets, we mean an API or a web application. All right, so let's quickly create a service for our application. And this is our demo application. So in my service page, in my subscription service page, all I need to do is click on create subscription service, and it's going to take me to a page. I'm going to give this service a name of demo app service. Let me just call it demo app dev because our application is deployed to the dev environment. So subscription services are environment based. So for an application, you're going to have to configure a service for every environment. So users who are signed up to this will only have access to the dev environment. So we're going to call this the demo app dev environment subscription service. So before we move any further, while we're still very early in the video, there's one thing you need to know. Services, you can have multiple subscription services to one asset, meaning that you can have many services for one app. So you can think of it from a standpoint from different use cases. You might have a service for, let's say, a different market with a different price. You could have a service for a different market with a different restriction policies. So maybe in certain countries, your application is for 18 years and above, while in certain countries, your application is for 16 years and above, and you could have different services that is marketed and restricted to different locations. This is our advanced security policies that we're gonna go over. We're gonna change this to the dev environment. So this application can either be internal or external. Internal means that it's going to be an internal application, meaning that only people in your accounts, only users signed up into your account also known as internal users, will be able to sign up to this application. Whereas an external service means that it's open for the general public to sign up. And there are also policies to restrict access to general public. We're going to get to that in future videos. All right. So we're going to leave it as internal. We're going to pick an assets type. So it could be an API or a GUI view. And by GUI, we just mean graphical user interface. So this is like a web application. So active here means that we want this application to be active. If it's not active, then everyone loses access immediately. But as long as it's active, people who have access or who have been signed up to this service will always have access. So now that it's a GUI view, we're going to have to select which one, and it's our demo application. Advertise simply means that this service is still available for signups. So if we turn off the advertise, it means that users will not be able to sign up to this application or using this service. All right, so let's turn this back on. Let's just give it a slug of demo dev. So now to sign up to this application through this service, we will need to go to this domain and sign up. All right. So that is that. We've configured this. So let's go ahead and save. But we're not done yet. All right. So we're going to have to configure a plan. And here I'm just going to create one free plan. I'm just going to call this plan base. And I'm just going to say this is the base plan. Since this is an internal application, I don't need to do anything too much here. I am going to allow team sign up. So this just means that there is more than one person per organization that can sign up to this service. I'm not going to implement any contract terms or team size limits or license transfer policies, and I'm not going to assign any individual permissions to this application. To this plan. I'm just going to create the plan. And then what we're going to do here is that we are going to see that everything is configured properly. Go ahead and save. And we are going to deploy this service. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on deploy. And it's going to deploy the active version, and it's become the deployed version. Now to complete this loop, I am going to go ahead and copy my sign up URL, paste that in the browser, and as you can see, it takes me to the next page where I can, since this is an internal application, as long as I have the subscription admin in permission, I can basically sign people up to internal applications. And I could just come here and just search for myself, proceed to checkout because it's free for internal users. And I'm just going to check out. And now I've basically been signed up to this application. So all I need to do now is to go back to over here and just put in my email. It's basically prompted me to two-factor authenticate. I'm going to just drag this out and sign into my email on the side over here. There we go. Finally got the email. All right, paste that in here, validate. Well, and now I have access to the restricted page. If I refresh the page, I no longer get prompted to sign in. I can go to the first page, I can go to the next page, go back and forth because I now have access to this application as I've logged in. All right. Now, ideally, there should be a logout button and they wait to like end my session. And we're going to touch through all those concepts. But basically, what you need to know, if we go back to our service, let's go back to our home page. You can see our demo app service now has one subscriber. As you can see, I just signed up to this service. if I go to my internal subscribers tab and I search, let's say for 2D subscriptions, I can see that I just signed up to this application. In the dev environment, it's free, it's recurring, it's for the dev environment. And that's pretty much going to be it for this video on the introduction to subscription services. These are basically a gateway to an API or an application. And in the next videos, in the coming videos, we're going to touch a lot of concepts in detail. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.